Breaking now at 5, the final farewell. George W. Bush delivers an emotional eulogy at his father's funeral.
The best father a son or daughter could have.
Father, patriot, and former president. How the nation is remembering George H.W. Bush tonight.
Publix paper. The intense search now underway for a man police say recorded a woman in a Publix bathroom. The new warning for women everywhere.
3, 2, 1, and liftoff.
SpaceX rocket spinning out of control. Why today's mission did not go as planned. The news starts now.
Now on CBS 12 News at 5.
The cool down is here, but the temperatures will continue to tumble.
The question, how cold are we expected to get? Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Erin Christensen with a look at your hour-by-hour forecast. Hi, Erin.
Hi. It's tough to imagine we're using the word cold when just yesterday we were at 87 degrees, too shy of tying the record high for the day and pushing 90. Today, we topped out at a mere 70 degrees and our lowest temperature so far, 61. We're now at just 62. With that wind from the north at 16 miles per hour, helping to push some of that cooler air in our direction. But yes, even colder tomorrow morning from what we felt this morning. Belle Glade, that means 47 for you, 51 Wellington, 58 Lake Worth, as well as Boynton Beach. Temperatures a little farther to the north, 54 for West Palm Beach, the same Palm Beach Gardens, 56 Jupiter, 50 for Jupiter Farms. Vero Beach, how about 45? Okeechobee, 35 tomorrow morning and 46 for Indiantown. Coming up, though, we do have a really warm December weekend on the way. We're tracking the big heat wave coming up.
Erin, thank you. You can always track weather with our CBS 12 News weather app. It will alert you when rain is just 5 miles away.
The flag-draped casket carrying former President George Herbert Walker Bush is heading back to Houston, Texas. Tomorrow, his family will hold a private funeral. The 94-year-old will be laid to rest next to his wife of 73 years, Barbara Bush, and their 3-year-old daughter, Robin, who died of leukemia. Earlier, back in our nation's capital, the former president drove by the White House for the final time before family and loved ones remembered him as a dedicated family man.
Through our tears, let us know the blessings of knowing and loving you, a great and noble man, the best father a son or daughter could have. And in our grief, let us smile knowing that Dad is hugging Robin and holding Mom's hand again.
President Trump, 4 former presidents and world leaders packed the National Cathedral as America said a final farewell to a war hero, statesman, and the nation's 41st president. Today is a national day of mourning with all government offices closed in honor of Mr. Bush.
The former president is set to land within the hour, where a motorcade will then take him to the St. Martin Episcopal Church. That's where he will lie in repose. CBS 12's Zach Hedrick is in Houston, Texas right now, with how residents there are honoring the late president. Zach, what do you have?
Good afternoon, Paula and Liz. Right now, Secret Service is making their final security sweeps. Dozens of Houston police officers are getting in position in anticipation of President Bush's arrival. You mentioned the Special Air Mission 41 making its way back here to Houston right now. About 20 minutes from now, we just got a tweet from the spokesperson of the former president saying that they will fly over the site of the Presidential Library and College Station, about 2,000 feet, doing a flyover before he arrives here. President Bush will arrive here at St. Martin's about an hour and a half from now. A final farewell.
He was an honorable man. He stuck to his word. I think he improved the state of Texas in his own right.
After lying in state in the nation's capital, former President George H.W. Bush returns to Houston, a place he and his late wife Barbara called home for more than 50 years.
94 years, he lived a good life, a long life, but no matter how many years, just like when my mom passed away, even if it's a long life, it's still too early to lose somebody.
He stood in the breach against tyranny and discrimination.
A solemn occasion has turned into a celebration of life for the 41st president. Bush is being honored as a gracious man, a humble servant, and a model of decency, remembered by those who worked with him when he held the nation's highest office.
He made you feel like you mattered to him and to whatever the issue or the problem was you were working with.
And by everyday Americans alike.
I think for his kindness and compassion for people. You knew that he cared. You knew that he connected. I mean, just look at the lines and the families here. They're a remarkable family, and it started with him.
Paul and Liz, as you mentioned, President Bush will lie in state with an honor guard in attendance until 6 tomorrow morning. There's a private funeral service which is scheduled to begin at 10 tomorrow. From there, President Bush will be taken to the site of his presidential library in College Station to be laid alongside his late wife Barbara and their daughter Robin. Reporting live in Houston, I'm Zach Hedrick. Back to you.
Zach, thank you. Again, today is a national day of mourning. The federal government is closed, so is the Postal Service as well as Wall Street. And you can read more on President Bush's ties to our area here in South Florida. You can also see services and memorials live on our website, CBS12.com. And CBS News will have a special report on President Bush's arrival, followed by the ceremony that we mentioned earlier at St. Martin's Episcopal Church. You can watch it all right here on CBS 12 News beginning at 6.
Breaking news right now. One man rushed to the hospital following a crash on the turnpike in Cutler Bay. First responders say the driver wrapped his car around a palm tree in the northbound lanes. Fire crews worked for nearly an hour to extract the driver. That condition of the driver is unknown. The cause of the crash is under investigation. And more breaking news now. The family of a South Florida woman killed during a birthday trip to Costa Rica has confirmed her death. Authorities say 36-year-old Carla Stefaniak was found partially buried behind the Airbnb where she was staying. Her father today confirmed her death, saying the loss is too much for the family to bear, saying they are now feeling incomplete. A security guard has been arrested in connection to the case. New tonight, finally home. The FHP trooper hit by an out-of-control car earlier this week spent his first night out of the hospital. His wife calls his recovery a miracle. CBS 12's Treasure Coast reporter Erin McPherson just spoke with him a few hours ago. And Erin, everyone wants to know, how is he doing?
While Liz, Trooper Mathel Patel is doing much better tonight. He tells me he's just extremely sore. Now, he wasn't up for any pictures or interviews today, but he did want me to tell everyone in the community that he's so thankful for all of their thoughts and prayers. Caught on camera with Traffic Tracker 12. Shocking video of a car spinning out of control and crashing into a Florida Highway Patrol trooper, hurling him into the air. Trooper Mathel Patel was working a crash on I-95 Monday near the Hobe Sound exit when the car hit him. Tonight, he's home. I talked with him for about 10 minutes as he sat on his couch with his wife and mother by his side. All of them thankful for the community's support and grateful he wasn't hurt any worse. Trooper Patel has no broken bones or even any fractures, just extremely sore, which his wife says is a miracle with what his body went through. Trooper Patel is also being called a hero. Before he was hit, he pushed the man he was standing with out of the way. That man is now on crutches with a knee brace, but alive. Trooper Patel tells me he will do an interview with us on Friday once he's feeling a little bit better, and he says he's going to be resting for the next couple of weeks before he gets back to work. Reporting live in Fort Pierce, Erin McPherson, CBS 12 News.
Such good news, Erin. Thank you. A holiday heist. This former FedEx employee behind bars tonight after police say he tried to rob the delivery trucks that he used to drive. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. CBS 12's Nyla Charles live in Palm Beach County tonight with how he got away with thousands of dollars worth of items. Nyla?
Well, that suspect targeted Apple products coming out of the Wellington Green Mall. Now, not only was he experienced with the driving routes, FedEx says he was also experienced with stealing. It says that's why it fired him back in 2015 before he went on this robbery spree. John Berger remains in jail accused of robbing FedEx drivers 3 times from 2016 to 2017. The ironic part, police say Berger was a FedEx driver too, before the company fired him for stealing Apple products. Police say he used that knowledge to strategically stake out locations on the Wellington Mall route. The police report says each time he robbed a FedEx driver, he wore a mask, forcing victims into the back of a truck at gunpoint, where he pepper sprayed and tased them. Officers say he left with iPhones and iPads. Berger allegedly trained one of the victims and targeted the other twice. Police arrested Berger nearly a year after the first robbery by connecting his DNA to 3 robberies. Police say he didn't act alone. Officers are still looking for at least 2 other people who helped him. Find out how officers were able to connect Berger to the crime before the DNA results came in. For now, reporting live from West Palm Beach, Nayela Charles, CBS 12 News.
Right now, police are trying to hunt down a man accused of violating women at, of all places, Publix. One of the victims says she caught him in the act at a store along St. Lucie Boulevard. We sat down with the 24-year-old victim who did not want to be identified. She says she saw a cell phone staring up at her as she rushed out of the bathroom. She says the man slipped. She grabbed his shirt, but he wriggled his way free.
I said, "What the F are you doing?" And he said, I'm sorry, and ran out. If they lock him up for the rest of his life, that's perfectly fine. I just don't want him to be able to do it to anybody else.
Port St. Lucie police say detectives are currently investigating a few leads, but they still have not found the man. Anyone with information is asked to contact police.
Now at 5, the PGA of America is officially moving out. Next stop, Frisco, Texas. It is the end of an era that helped establish Palm Beach County as a major golf destination. Sports director John Evanson live in the studio now with more on how much of an impact this will have. Hey, John.
Hey, Paul, yes, we've learned about 120 jobs will be moving from Palm Beach County to a brand new PGA of America headquarters to be built on 600 acres of land in Frisco, Texas. And while roughly 100 jobs will remain at the current headquarters in Palm Beach Gardens, some are wondering why this had to happen.
Oh, my gosh. Why would they leave basically the golf capital of the world?
It's a frustrating day for Charlie Hamilton, a longtime USGA employee, now a golf historian and author.
That's an Arnold Palmer bag.
Born and raised in West Palm Beach, he remembers the 1971 PGA Championship and the 1983 Ryder Cup held here, thanks to the arrival of the PGA of America over 50 years ago, and can't help but feel like our area is losing a big chunk of our golf identity.
There has to be a way to find in Palm Beach County a piece of dirt and build a building, clearly that the Texas people were willing to do.
The leaders of Palm Beach County have been highly valued partners. It really was a matter of picking the best of multiple good options.
But a brand new state-of-the-art headquarters, along with 2 major championship caliber golf courses, will be built on this land in Frisco. An agreement that includes a promise to host 2 PGA championships, 2 KPMG Women's PGA championships, and potentially a Ryder Cup in the next few years. An estimated economic impact of over $2.5 billion for Frisco over the next 20 years.
I would like to think that the place I live and you live that has the wonderful weather and the courses that we have, I still think it's the golf capital of the world and always will be to me.
And it is important to note here again, about 100 jobs will remain in Palm Beach County, and the PGA of America is a completely separate entity than the PGA. So tournaments like the Honda Classic and the Boca Raton Championship are completely unaffected by the move. Those 2 tournaments have an economic impact of over $40 million a year. So there is good news there, guys.
The final farewell. We're in Houston, Texas, where the late George H.W. Bush will be laid to rest alongside his late wife and daughter. How he's being remembered by the people who knew him best, his family.
A SpaceX rocket spinning out of control, why today's mission was not a complete success.
And a warning for women to be vigilant. The arrest shedding new light on the dangers of date rape drugs. That's next.
Friend George Bush, one of nature's noblemen. His epitaph, perhaps just a single letter, the letter L for loyalty.
As the nation says its final goodbyes to the nation's 41st president, tonight George H.W. Bush is being remembered for his whimsical socks, and tomorrow he'll be buried in a special pair Bush family spokesman Jim McGrath sharing this post showing the socks Mr. Bush will be buried in. They're just one of the many tributes to his lifetime of service and his time as a naval aviator during World War II.
Now at 5, a warning for women to never leave their drinks unattended, no matter who you're with. This after investigators say in Boca Raton that a local doctor drugged his friend's drink while she was in the restroom. We first told you about this yesterday after officers arrested the doctor. Today, CBS 12's Yaremi Farinas spoke with a local nurse about what all women should know about the drugs used to spike drinks. Yadi?
Liz, in most cases, people don't even know when someone slips something in their drink, and that's because drugs used to spike drinks are usually tasteless and odorless, making it almost impossible to detect.
A lot of people don't even realize it's happened to them.
Sherry Britton Cicino is a sexual assault nurse at Palm Beach County Victim Services.
In sexual assault in general, people don't come forward a lot of the times. We probably see like a quarter of the cases that are out there.
She says from her experience, victims who have been drugged, then attacked, usually don't report it.
Sometimes it's because they don't know what happened. Sometimes they are unsure and they don't want to accuse someone close to them of such a horrendous crime.
She says the recent arrest of this Delray Beach doctor accused of spiking a woman's drink during a dinner date is something that's difficult to recover from.
I think the hardest part of this type of crime is the exploitation of the trust, and when it's a healthcare provider, it's even worse.
According to Dr. Mircea Maariu's arrest report, a Ziploc bag collected at the restaurant had traces of an anxiety drug often sold under the name Xanax, and a drug used to treat insomnia. Investigators' reports show those two substances were also found in the woman's system along with alcohol and cocaine.
A lot of times they'll suddenly start feeling really drowsy, maybe dizzy, uncoordinated, and then after that they'll have a loss of memory.
In this case, the woman was never assaulted and she ended up in the hospital after a customer reported the doctor to the restaurant. Britton Cicino says these type of cases happen everywhere.
It happens a lot more than people realize.
Now, if you believe you have been drugged and assaulted, contact Palm Beach County Victim Services. They have physicians here who can check you out and help you determine how to move forward with your case. For now, we're live in West Palm Beach. I'm Yaremi Farinas, CBS 12 News.
SpaceX landing fails. The company launching its 16th cargo supply mission to the International Space Station from Cape Canaveral this afternoon.
3, 2, 1, 0. And liftoff.
The liftoff, textbook. The landing, not so much. Parts of the rocket's boosters landing in the water instead of back on the launch pad. NASA says the spacecraft will be doing research as well as delivering supplies.
Well, our weather certainly isn't a trip to outer space, but we have been on one heck of a roller coaster ride. We got on this ride, whether willing or not, just over a week ago. 2 Mondays ago, we were 84 degrees, dropped off to 62 2 days later, and then a week later up to 87. We were at that 87 again yesterday, dropped to 70 degrees today. And can you believe by Sunday we'll be back in the 80s? So right now, temperatures in the 50s and low 60s here, 60 for Fort Pierce, 63 Jupiter, 62 at this hour for West Palm Beach. But watch what happens as we progress this out through tomorrow morning, right around 7:15. Temperatures in the low to mid 50s for West Palm Beach, 50 for Wellington, dropping to 52 South Bay, but 47 Indiantown, 43 Okeechobee. So for Palm Beach International, we're calling it 54 degrees overnight. That will put us 8 degrees below average with mostly clear skies continuing, and that wind from the north at 15 to 20 miles per hour, even throughout the course of the night. The wind is going to be fairly elevated. And if you're going to be out and about during the coolest time of the day, because maybe you enjoy the cool air, sunrise at 6:55, that's about the time we'll have that cool air. Maybe an hour or so before that, you have a unique opportunity to spot not only our crescent moon, but also Venus, which, by the way, is the third brightest object in the sky, and perhaps even Mercury, really low on the horizon there. Now, Venus, because of its cloud cover, is actually super bright right now because those bright white clouds that surround the planet are reflecting a lot of sunlight back to our eyes. So really a cool opportunity. Check that out if you get the chance. 74 degrees tomorrow afternoon puts us 3 degrees below average, but mostly sunny skies. Temperatures elsewhere, 74 Boca Raton. You'll warm to a mere 74 in Wellington, 72 Indiantown, 71 Okeechobee, 71 for Vero Beach, Fort Pierce, 72, the same for Palm City, Jupiter Farm, 73, and 74 for the Acreage. Now, as we move ahead to the weekend, though, warm one on the way. Santa's probably enjoying a little bit of a rest and relaxation here before the big trip later this month, but 80 degrees for a high Saturday, Sunday at 83. But notice I didn't say a dry weekend necessarily. 10% chance for rain on Saturday. By Sunday, we do have a 50% chance for rain ahead of, you guessed it, our next cold front. That will drop us down to 74 by Monday, 69 Tuesday, with some of that drier, cooler air sticking around through Wednesday.
The weather roller coaster continues. Right, it's the wave of the future in luxury cruise ships. An exclusive look tonight at the new high-end cruise liners that will set sail out of South Florida this weekend.
The holidays are a sweet time for chocolate lovers, and today's Consumer Alert shows you why people aren't just buying candy from the grocery stores, they're shelling out big bucks for high-end chocolate.
Here, it is a sweet time for chocolate lovers.
You should be looking at me. All right, and as CBS 12's Kristen Chapman found out, many consumers are spending more these days on high-end chocolate.
Jonathan Grom started his chocolate apprenticeship with Compartes at the age of 15.
Okay.
He's now the owner and CEO.
And you just need 30 boxes, and which size is it?
Business is especially sweet this time of year. The 68-year-old chocolate company offers chocolate bars with unique flavors like coconut milk and vegan kale.
You've got kale, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds. This is almost a health food. It's like a salad and a chocolate bar. And what's funny...
With the dessert included.
With the dessert included.
Americans' appetite for premium chocolate is increasing. Sales are up about 25% from $1.7 billion in 2012 to more than $2.1 billion last year. More craft chocolate makers are sprouting up to take a bite out of this trend, and the smaller boutique shops are seeing a boost in business.
I literally buy at least 3 chocolate bars every week.
Compartes says sales have doubled for 5 straight years. And San Francisco's Dandelion Chocolate reports 30% annual growth over the past 6 years. At Compartes, a bar can go for $10, but that's not stopping customers from buying them up. If you're curious, they are available to order online. Reporting from the studio, Kristen Chapman, CBS 12 News.
All right, well, you know the saying, what's in a name, right? Well, a local city trying to change its name, and if they do, why it would come with a hefty price tag.
And our weather roller coaster ride does continue. We've got a really warm December weekend ahead. We're tracking those temps coming up.
The final farewell for Commander-in-Chief, the funeral of former President George H.W. Bush, and how his loved ones are saying goodbye in a place he called home. That's next.
On CBS 12 News at 5:30.
Now at 5:30, Special Mission 41 is on its way to Houston, Texas, where former President George Herbert Walker Bush will lie in repose before he is laid to rest beside his wife Barbara and their 3-year-old daughter Robin. There was both laughter and tears today as thousands gathered in the National Cathedral to remember the former president who died last week at the age of 94. He is making his final journey back to his adopted state of Texas following an emotional farewell from former and current world leaders at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C., including all living former presidents, as well as President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump.
I believe it will be said that no occupant of the Oval Office was more courageous, more principled, and more honorable than George Herbert Walker Bush.
Prior to the funeral, President Trump tweeted, "This is not a funeral. This is a day of celebration for a great man who had led a long, distinguished life. He will be missed." Mr. Bush will be buried tomorrow on the grounds of his presidential library in College Station.
Politicians from all over offering condolences today to the Bush family. I want you to take a listen now and what Senator Marco Rubio had to say about the 41st president.
President Bush is the first candidate I ever voted for president, and I've always had an interest in foreign policy, and I just remember back in 91 and 1990 when he led that incredible coalition to oust Saddam Hussein, and as he managed the end of the Cold War and the collapse of the Soviet Union, it was really a masterpiece of American diplomacy and foreign policy. I don't think it's been rivaled since.
Of course, we will continue to track developments during this newscast on CBS12.com. Now at 5:30, there's a big chill in the air. Have you noticed it? Temperatures only expected to get colder. Let's get right over to Chief Meteorologist Erin Christensen. And Erin, the question, how low will we go?
Well, our temperatures in some places in the 40s, but for West Palm Beach, we're talking low 50s. We're now already down to 62 degrees. Wind is from the north at 16 miles per hour. Those clear skies will allow our temperatures to fall off to their lowest potential. 59 right now for Okeechobee as well as Indiantown, but watch what happens here as we make our way through tomorrow morning. 47 for Belle Glade. We'll be at 51 Wellington, 58 for Lake Worth, upper 50s for Boynton Beach, but 56 for Jupiter. You'll start your day with 50 degrees in Jupiter Farms, 49 for Loxahatchee, Vero Beach 45, and Okeechobee at 35. Now coming up, we're tracking our next weather maker. I'll let you know how it's going to impact our weekend.
In tonight's Florida Focus, in Fort Lauderdale, the innovative new Celebrity Edge cruise ship begins its first 7-day journey this Sunday. It's one of more than a dozen ocean cruise liners launching this year, and many more are on the way. The state-of-the-art ship comes with floor-to-ceiling windows, a French bistro with projected animation that turns your table into entertainment.
These rooms bring the outside in or the inside out, however you want to look at it.
This is the first newly designed ship from Celebrity in 10 years.
Recalls hazardous products, the mortgage market collapse. National reporter Christine Frazao now reveals what the U.S. government does with the money in Spotlight on America.
For Joshua Relaford, the road to recovery has been a bumpy one. 4 years later, the pain is still raw.
Some nights I wouldn't even sleep, just stay up crying, like with the question, why? Why did this happen to me? Why am I going through this? Why me, Lord? Why?
These questions after the Takata airbag in the car he was driving exploded, causing him to lose his eye and, for a while, his will to live.
When I drop my hand, it's just like blood poured out my face.
You might have heard of ammonium nitrate. It's the explosive that Timothy McVeigh used to take down the federal building in Oklahoma City. That's what they put in these airbags to inflate the bags.
Takata was hit with a $1 billion penalty from the Department of Justice. The vast majority, $850 million, went to car companies, while just $125 million went to a compensation fund for victims. Joshua got no part of that and sued the company separately for an undisclosed amount. It's part of a pattern in this country of large companies paying large fines that often don't reach those impacted by the problem, says government watchdog Peter Schweitzer.
If you're issuing a recall and if the company's being fined, some of that money actually ought to go to the people.
And not some of the money, most of the money, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. The exception to the rule are instances where actually the victims receive the funds.
Instead, much of the money simply ends up here at the U.S. Treasury for Congress to decide where and how it should be spent. We looked into fines collected by 3 major government agencies, adding up to well over $35 billion. In the last 2 years, the Consumer Product Safety Commission took in about $56 million in fines for issues ranging from a company's failure to report a dangerous defect in its off-road vehicles to potentially hazardous gas ranges. Every cent, they told us, went to the U.S. Treasury. And when these banks were hit with billions of dollars in fines in 2008 for helping to inflate a mortgage bubble that led to a financial crisis, only part of that money went toward consumer relief. But some $11 billion went to the U.S. Treasury and millions more to other government agencies.
If they're going to continue to pocket the money, tell the American people you're pocketing the money.
And tell that to people like Joshua Relaford.
I lost my vision in one of my eyes. I have to live with this every day for the rest of my life.
He and others like him are left to wonder why it's the federal government that often comes out ahead when these companies' mistakes leave so many victims and their families so far behind. For Spotlight on America, I'm Christine Frizzell.
A scary scam making the rounds, what it's claiming to do to your loved ones if you don't pay up. And a jilted bride busts her cheating groom at the altar.
Wow, plus another touching moment between George W. Bush and his friend Michelle Obama, the former First Lady. It's going viral. That's next.
Proud partner of the CBS 12 News Network, the one to turn to.
Happening right now, the annual Hanukkah Family Festival at City Place from until 8 tonight. The event is put on by Shabbat of West Palm Beach.
Trending now, it's the moment that's gone viral. During his father's funeral, George W. Bush appeared to pass along a small gift to former First Lady Michelle Obama. Right there. During the funeral for Senator John McCain, the former president was seen exchanging candy with Mrs. Obama. A jilted bride busts her cheating groom, discovering an affair the night before her wedding. She appeared at the altar the next morning and read her cheating fiancé's racy affair texts instead of her vows. After dumping him, she still had a party with all her invited guests.
Sean Gallagher trying out for the Globetrotters. Hey, what do you say about that?
Wow, amazing. Sinking a backwards half-court shot is impressive, especially if you're an amateur. It happened on live TV in Milwaukee for a local reporter who was previewing the Harlem Globetrotters' upcoming visit. The amazing feat took place on World Trick Shot Day. Wonder if he made the team. For these and more trending stories, head over to the CBS 12 Facebook page.
That's going to go viral. All right, the U.S. Post Office being urged to go after Amazon. A task force led by the Treasury Department says the Postal Service is not correctly assessing the cost of delivering packages for online retailers. The post office has been losing money for more than a decade now. President Trump repeatedly calling out Amazon and other online retailers, saying they benefit at the post office's expense. Amazon declined comment.
A scary phone call.
If you value your life, since this is not a joke or a scam.
The person on the other end of the line threatening to take your life. What police say to do if you get a call like that.
And we're tracking our next weather maker, the impact this will have on our weekend, coming up.
Fires and an explosion, chaos caught on camera inside a prison. What happened moments before that riot broke out? More now on the funeral and services for President George H.W. Bush. You're looking live at the hearse now in Houston. No, live pictures we just saw there, of course, awaiting the arrival of Special Air Mission 41. And then it's off to Martin's Episcopal Church there in Houston, where the president will lie in repose until tomorrow morning. And from there, Liz, of course, it's off to Texas A&M University, where he will have another private funeral service for the George H.W. Bush Presidential Library in College Station, where he will ultimately be laid to rest.
And we are awaiting a special report from CBS News as soon as Special Air Mission 41 touches down. Special Counsel Robert Mueller says that President Donald Trump's former national security advisor has provided so much information to the Russia investigation that he shouldn't do any prison time. Mueller says in a court filing that Michael Flynn participated in 19 interviews and cooperated extensively in a separate and undisclosed criminal probe. Flynn is scheduled to be sentenced in 2 weeks for lying to the FBI. President Trump's longtime associate, Roger Stone, is telling Congress he will plead the Fifth and will not testify or provide documents to a Senate committee.
Sinclair Broadcast Group spoke exclusively with Stone. Tonight, our national correspondent, Michelle Macaluso, has the story from Washington.
Under intense scrutiny from special counsel Robert Mueller's team over possible ties between Russia and the Trump campaign, President Trump's longtime confidant, Roger Stone, is defiant against what he calls a partisan witch hunt.
There's no circumstance under which I would bear false witness against the president. In other words, make things up and testify against him.
On Monday, President Trump praised Stone for saying he will not testify against him, tweeting, "Nice to know that some people still have guts." But some legal experts say Trump's tweet is witness tampering. Stone shot back.
Where exactly am I a witness? I haven't been called to be a witness anyplace.
Democrats believe the president is interfering in an ongoing investigation.
The fact that he's doing this in plain sight on Twitter raises enormous problems and implications.
Stone is also pleading the Fifth, declining to testify or provide documents to the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Roger Stone is taking the Fifth, so he doesn't have to lie under oath in order to protect his longtime friend.
One person who is talking to Mueller is Michael Flynn, Trump's former national security advisor. In a sentencing memo, Mueller recommended that Flynn serve no prison time for cooperating substantially with investigators. Stone thinks he will be framed by Mueller, which could ultimately lead to his indictment.
Federal prosecutor, without any limitations on their power, can literally indict a ham sandwich. I'm just not interested in being Mr. Mueller's lunch.
In Washington, I'm Michelle Macaluso.
And we'd like to know what you think about this. When should the Mueller-Russia investigation end? Just head on over to our CBS 12 News Twitter page and vote in our poll. And yesterday, CBS 12's Maxine Benzel sat down exclusively with Roger Stone at his South Florida home. We posted her full interview with him on our website, that's cbs12.com.
Arizona officials released video of a prison riot from March, and it's as chaotic as you might think. The video shows inmates jumping over fences, throwing rocks, several fires, and even an unexplained explosion. The riot started when guards were escorting an inmate believed to be drunk across the prison yard. When he tried to assault the officers, a riot broke out. It took 2.5 hours for guards to gain control of the prison. One inmate was shot and killed by an officer, and 35 people were injured.
Have you noticed we have to pay particular attention to errands, well, like we always do, of course, but we have to pay particular attention this time because of the weather roller coaster.
You blink, you're going to miss something, right?
I don't know. I just can't take it.
Right. Well, we still have a few more turns left to go on this wild ride. You know, we were at 87 degrees yesterday, so it's hard to talk about using the word cold today, but I think a lot of us have used that word, cold, 70 degrees for us. This is well below the norm. And we started the day 61 degrees. Well, that was the low, at least so far. So we have had a whopping 17-degree drop in our high temperatures here just in 24 hours time, and an 8-degree drop in those lows. Now tonight will be even colder from what last night / early morning was for us. We're talking 54 degrees. That will put us 8 degrees below average, with mostly clear skies continuing and the wind still a little breezy at times, pushing in from the north. Now come tomorrow, our high temperature 74 will be a touch warmer from what we felt today, but still putting us 3 degrees below the norm. Mostly sunny skies continue, and that northerly component to our wind will continue to keep that cooler air moving in our direction. But our next weather maker is going to change that direction of the wind, and that's going to make all the difference in the world when it comes to our temperatures and our chance for rain. And we're tracking that in just a bit. Tomorrow, though, 74 the high for West Palm Beach, 73 Jupiter, 71 Vero Beach, as well as Okeechobee. Pahokee at 71, 73 Jupiter Farms, and Fort Pierce at 72. But that big warm up on the way this weekend will be at 80 degrees Saturday, 83 Sunday. But Sunday will be just ahead here of this cold front, or with this cold front moving through, that rain will start to move through late Sunday into early morning hours on Monday. So again, I said a warm weekend, not necessarily a dry one. Saturday will be the drier of the 2 days. Again, Sunday has a 50% chance you'll want the umbrella.
Well, it is a call that everyone should hang up on. This frightening scam threatening to kill your loved ones if you don't pay up.
The price of change. Lake Worth may soon become Lake Worth Beach, but are taxpayers ready for that price tag? CBS 12 News investigates. That's tonight at 6.
Let's go ahead and take a look now at our Sky Team 12 drone shot of the day. Video here from downtown Delray. The Sky Team 12 drone means new ways to bring you the news. CBS 12, the one to turn to. Some terrorism are down, but on the rise, far-right political terrorism. We continue to cover the war on terror from our Worldwide Terrorism Alert Desk.
From
From the Terrorism Alert Desk in Washington, I'm Lindsay Mastis. For the third consecutive year, the number of deaths from terrorism is down. According to the Global Terrorism Index, worldwide deaths fell by 27% from 2016 to 2017. The global economic impact of terrorism is also down. Last year, it was $52 billion. That's down 42% from 2016. But terrorism still has a global impact, with 67 countries recording at least one death last year. 5 countries, Afghanistan, Iraq, Nigeria, Somalia, and Syria, each recorded more than 1,000 terror-related deaths. Afghanistan had the most deaths, replacing Iraq as the deadliest nation. And on the rise, far-right political terrorism. Between 2013 and 2017, there were 66 deaths and 127 attacks in Western Europe and North America caused by such groups. From the Terrorism Alert Desk in Washington, I'm Lindsay Mastis.
Next at 6, live pictures from Houston, where we are awaiting the arrival of Special Air Mission 41. This after an emotional day as the nation and the world said their final goodbyes to the 41st President of the United States.
A former FedEx employee busted, accused of robbing the delivery trucks that he once drove. How police were able to track him down.
And we're already down to 62 degrees, but almost another 10 to go before that morning low. How low the temps across our area will get coming up.
Now at 6, the roller coaster ride continues. A night of tumbling temperatures just hours away, and it could get into the 30s.
Ooh, and live pictures right now from Houston, where we are waiting the arrival of Special Air Mission 41.
The best father a son or daughter could have.
An emotional final farewell to President George H.W. Bush from his son. The cathedral full of tears as the nation says goodbye.
Now on CBS 12 News at 6.
Right now, we are taking live pictures from Houston, where we are awaiting the arrival. You see right there, the 747 Air Force One is about to land. It has the casket carrying former President George H.W. Bush. We're also awaiting a special report from CBS News. As that happens, of course, we will bring that newscast to you live. And as you can see there, he's landing there in Houston.
Here at home, temperatures taking a nosedive. Get ready for another dramatic drop tonight. The blast of chilly air has people in our area once again breaking out the winter wear just days after record heat.
And guess what? Tonight's temperatures, well, they could drop into the 40s, maybe even the 30s. So let's get right over to Chief Meteorologist Aaron Christensen, who's going to break that down for us.
What a difference just 24 hours can make, right? Yesterday at this time, we were talking about a high of 87, being 2 degrees shy of tying the record for the day. And then today, a mere 70 degrees, and the low temperature so far today, 61. But we've already fallen just below that. So National Weather Service is going to be rewriting sort of the record books and the climate data. It's going to be one of those days where that temperature timeline is kind of turned upside down. And we'll talk more about that on CBS 12 News at 11. But now 59 degrees. And that wind from the north-northwest at 10 miles per hour. Our town's temperature tomorrow, Belle Glade, we're talking 47 for you, 51 for Wellington, to the north, Jupiter, 56, 49, Loxahatchee, 45 Fort Pierce, but in the 30s for Okeechobee. And coming up, you have a rare opportunity to spot the third brightest object in the sky with our beautiful crescent moon.
And you can track the temperature in your neighborhood anytime with CBS 12's News Weather app. Just click on WPEC in your app store. It is free.
All right now, we're going to look at some live pictures from Houston where, yes, we're awaiting the arrival of the casket carrying former President George H.W. Bush. You can see Air Force One there, landing just a short time ago. We brought it to you live here. Of course, President George H.W. Bush, his body in the plane. With family, friends, and loved ones. And the body is set to arrive at St. Martin's Episcopal Church in Houston later on tonight. And Liz, that's where he will lie in repose until tomorrow morning. And we're also awaiting a special report from CBS News. As soon as that happens, we will cut away from this newscast and bring it to you live. You see the plane there. All right, today, a grand and solemn goodbye marked by deep love and appreciation as the nation said farewell to its 41st president. President Trump, 4 former presidents, and world leaders were among about 3,000 people attending today's state funeral at the National Cathedral in our nation's capital. Mr. Bush being remembered as a dedicated family man who lived life to its fullest. Son and fellow President George W. Bush bid his father farewell in an emotional eulogy. He choked up as he told his father goodbye. Take a listen.
So through our tears, let us know the blessings of knowing and loving you, a great and noble man, the best father a son or daughter could have. And in our grief, let us smile knowing that Dad is hugging Robin and holding Mom's hand again.
3 are back together. A 21-gun salute paid tribute to Mr. Bush at the Capitol, where Americans lined up for hours this week to pay their respect. Mr. Bush was the 11th president to lay in state in the Capitol Rotunda.
Tomorrow, a second memorial will be held at the Family's Church in Houston. A locomotive will then take the casket to the Bush Presidential Library, where the former president will be laid to rest next to his wife Barbara and daughter Robin. You may have noticed Google went gray today. Google replaced its normally colorful logo with a charcoal gray-colored one to honor former President George H.W. Bush. The Bush family visited South Florida on many occasions. The former president enjoyed playing tennis and golf here in Palm Beach County. For more on his ties to our area, just go to CBS12.com. And the CBS Evening News with Jeff Glor will have much more on today's funeral for the president right after this newscast. We are also awaiting a special report from CBS News. As soon as that happens, we'll cut away from this newscast and bring it to you live.
Right now, a former FedEx driver is behind bars for robbing drivers on the same route that he used to drive. That man charged with stealing thousands of dollars worth of Apple products as well as kidnapping. CBS 12's Nyala Charles live tonight from the West Palm Beach Police Department with how officers say he was able to carry out such an intricate plan actually here in Palm Beach County. Nyala?
Well, that suspect carried out the robbery 3 times. The police say that his experience as a former FedEx employee is what helped him. He knew the routes, he knew what time the drop-offs were, and he also knew how to disable the FedEx truck's GPS. Police say 29-year-old John Berger is responsible for 3 FedEx robberies and kidnappings. Officers say he targeted FedEx drivers carrying Apple products from the Wellington Green Mall. They say he knew the routes because he was a former FedEx employee fired in 2015 for stealing Apple products. Now he's accused of stealing the same types of products again. The police report says Berger robbed the first victim in 2016, a FedEx driver he trained. The victim told police he recognized Berger's voice when 2 masked suspects with guns ordered him to get in the back of the FedEx truck at a scheduled pickup location on Okeechobee Boulevard. The next robbery happened months later at the same location, this time to a different FedEx driver. Police say Berger targeted that same driver again in 2017, and this time he was pepper sprayed and tased. Police arrested Berger more than a year later after finding his DNA in the FedEx truck. Officers are still looking for at least 2 other suspects. The big question here is if the first victim recognized Berger's voice, why wasn't he arrested sooner? Well, police say that's not enough to make an arrest. They say by the time the second robbery happened, they were still investigating the first, hoping to get enough evidence to get Berger behind bars. For now, reporting live from West Palm Beach, Nyala Charles, CBS 12 News.
This holiday will be a difficult one for 2 families who lost loved ones in a tragic accident. CBS 12's Treasure Coast reporter Aaron McPherson joins us live from a new memorial by the St. Lucie County Fairgrounds where 2 teens died earlier this year. Aaron?
Liz, well, this memorial has gotten bigger since that crash happened back in February, and there's also a lot of new features. We can see that this is solar paneled lights to light up this Christmas tree as well as the cross, and it is clear that people in this community are not only keeping this memorial, but these young girls' spirits alive. Every day, cars drive past this memorial on Okeechobee Road in St. Lucie County. A wrong-way driver killed 17-year-old Brittany Poindexter and 18-year-old Santia Fakita back in February. devastating the entire community. Since the crash, the makeshift memorial has grown from flowers and photographs to now a 6-foot cross with their names etched in the wood with a sunflower on each side. And just recently, a new addition, a Christmas tree. 2 angels sit on top, symbolizing the 2 young women gone too soon. Troopers say the man who caused the accident, a man in his 90s, also died, and they say that he was driving an RV, that the headlights were not working at the time of the crash. Reporting live, Erin McPherson, CBS 12 News.
Finally home, the Florida Highway Patrol trooper hit by a car this week is now out of the hospital. Trooper Mithal Patel and his family say they're extremely thankful for all that love and support from the community. His wife says it is a miracle her husband didn't break any bones. Now, the trooper, of course, in this exclusive video you see was responding to another crash on I-95 in Martin County when a car then spun out of control and hit the trooper. But before he was hit, he was able to push another man out of the way, and that man only had some minor injuries.
Inside Edition has a must-see show tonight. They spoke with the mother of 3-year-old Presley Jean, the miracle girl from Port St. Lucie who survived being shot in the head during a road rage incident, and now she's walking.
How many steps can you take? There you go. That's my girl. Keep going. Keep going. These socks are slippery.
As you can see, little Presley is making major progress. Hear from her mom tonight on Inside Edition. That starts at 7:30 right here on CBS 12.
Right now, a car ripped apart like you might say tissue paper, and one man rushed to the hospital following a crash on the turnpike in Cutler Bay. Now, first responders said the driver wrapped his car around a palm tree. This is in the northbound lanes. Fire crews, as you see there, working for nearly an hour to get the driver out of the car. His condition right now, at last check, unknown.
3, 2, 1, 0. And liftoff.
SpaceX Falcon 9 blasting off from the Kennedy Space Center this morning with 36,000 worms. Yes, worms wriggling on board. Researchers will study the worms to see how their muscles react to the conditions on the space station. Now, the mission originally set for Tuesday, delayed though after mold was found on food bars for one of their rodent experiments. Now, the rocket is also delivering turkey and other fixings to the astronaut for Christmas dinner.
New at 6, the Okeechobee Music and Arts Festival is taking a break. Organizers announced on social media they're holding off on the annual bash until 2020, but they did not give a reason as to why they're taking a year hiatus. The festival attracted big names like Snoop Dogg, Usher, and Kings of Leon. The event has been a big attraction for law enforcement as well. A 2-day crackdown on highway drugs before the festival led to 99 arrests last year.
Here's a question. What is in a name? Well, a possible name change could be in the future for the city of Lake Worth, but it'll cost taxpayers a lot. How much they're going to have to pay to change all the signs.
As I will kill you and extend it to your family.
Then a sick scam revealed, preying on victims with death threats.
And I'm calling it Fahrenheit flip-flop. What turned the thermometer upside down at the airport today? Our high temperature wasn't at all during the time you'd expect it.
And these are live pictures from Houston, where Special Air Mission 41 just landed, carrying the casket of former President George H.W. Bush. You can see the official procession there. We're going to come back with more on this in Houston when we come back. Back now with the big story of the day, the funeral and services for President George H.W. Bush. These are live pictures now from Houston, where Special Air Mission 41 just landed, and they are waiting now to take the casket to St. Martin's Episcopal Church, where the president will lie in repose from 6 tonight until 6 a.m. on Thursday. Full military honors here. You see every one of the military branches represented there as they await to take the president to the church, and then his family will have a private service tomorrow. We'll continue to monitor these live pictures and bring you more in just a few moments. The city of Lake Worth wants to change its name to Lake Worth Beach. It's a move leaders there are already ready to make after city commissioners voted unanimously for the change. But in the end, it's up to the voters. CBS 12's Andrea Marvin joins us live in Lake Worth with how many residents question how much it would all cost and if it's worth it. Andrea?
Liz, this created quite the debate today when I was asking questions because changes would have to be made. Signs would need to be changed and shops would also have to make adjustments. But local businesses say it's time.
I think it just has a better sound to it. I know I'd want to visit a beach town.
The Howards recently opened the Downtown Art Factory in the heart of Lake Worth, where people can paint and do wood art. The couple believes changing Lake Worth to Lake Worth Beach would bring more tourists.
If the streets are full of people walking around and checking it out, it definitely benefits newer, even existing businesses too.
City commissioners are letting voters decide in March on changing the city's name. They say it would put an emphasis on the coastline and separate the city from unincorporated Lake Worth, where crime tends to happen.
Every city is going to have its crime, but you can't just, dump it all on Lake Worth and say everywhere in Lake Worth is bad.
So how much would it cost taxpayers? A city spokesperson says upfront costs would be about $100,000, including material to reach out to residents about the change and marketing. As for signage, the city says they had plans to change signs and have held off in case the name does change to Lake Worth Beach.
And us to change over business cards or our flyers or anything, it's pennies, in the grand scheme of things for us. And, changing the signs around the city, it's gonna be a gradual process.
Now, as for the boundaries, they would remain the same. So unincorporated Lake Worth would remain unincorporated Lake Worth and be governed by the county. Now, a survey shows that residents here are pretty evenly divided about this, some for, some against. But ultimately, the voters will decide in March. Reporting live in Lake Worth, Andrea Marvin, CBS 12 News.
If you value your life, since this is not a joke or a scam, do not think of contacting the police or even tell anyone otherwise. I will kill you and extend it to your family.
Pay $10,000 or your family could be killed. That is a frightening phone call that some people are getting. Fortunately, though, they don't believe, police don't believe at least, anyone has fallen for this scam. They say if you get a call like this, of course, hang up immediately, block the number, and if you haven't already, join the Do Not Call registry.
Well, Aaron, it was chilly this morning, but we are really starting to feel those temperatures tumble now as the sun goes down.
Interestingly enough, we actually had our high temperature almost right after midnight. One of those weird days where that front passed through overnight, and then we continued to drop off after that. So the roller coaster ride, not just limited to our high temperatures throughout the course of the last 2 weeks, but even the day. Check out this Fahrenheit flip-flop coming from Palm Beach International. So at 12:45, we had the high temperature of 70 degrees. We dropped to 61 just before 7 a.m. And then we warmed up very quickly once the sun came up by just about an hour into your lunch hour there, up to 68. And then we fell off to the upper 50s by 5:53 observation. And we will continue to keep dropping off after that. In fact, we're forecasting a low of just about 54 degrees here for West Palm. We're now down to that 59, wind from the north-northwest at 10 miles per hour. In the mid-40s already in Gainesville, 50 in Tallahassee, 47 Jacksonville, Orlando at 54, the same in Vero Beach, again 59 for West Palm Beach. But elsewhere, temperatures at this hour, 53 for Okeechobee, 55 Indiantown, 56 Belle Glade, and in the upper 50s for West Palm Beach. Tomorrow morning, this is our overnight / early morning low. We will drop off to 54 degrees, still 8 below the average. And if you are going to be out and about just before sunrise, that coolest temperature of the day going to be felt right about 7 o'clock or so. You'll want to check out our planet pairing. Beautiful opportunity to spot Mercury, our crescent moon, and then just a little bit above that, you'll see Venus, which is extraordinarily bright right now. Just about an hour or so before sunrise, you want to look to the east. Now, this weekend, we do have a big warm up on the way, a very warm December weekend, in fact. 80 degrees for our Saturday, 83 on Sunday. And it has a lot to do with our next weather maker bringing in a shift of our wind. Our wind will go from what is now northerly to an east-southeasterly component that will bring in some warmer air, a little bit more moisture. In fact, by Sunday, we have a 50% chance for rain, pushing out ahead of our next cold front. Yeah, you heard me right, cold front. So we're going to spike into the 80s this weekend and then drop off once again. Cooler, drier air on the backside of that front once we get through that rain on Sunday. Sunday, the wettest, but also the warmest day, the next 7. Then we do some drying out by Monday, 74 with just a 10% chance for rain, dropping off to the upper 60s Tuesday. Look at our Monday night temperature, by the way, in the upper 40s. And then 69 Tuesday afternoon, 72 by Wednesday.
Aaron, thank you. We're going to return now to live video. This is from Houston, where Special Air Mission 41 landed just a short time ago. There you are, the president's casket, President George H.W. Bush there, arriving after a funeral today at the National Cathedral in our nation's capital, hundreds attending there.
And the entire Bush family, we understand, has disembarked from the plane, the children and grandchildren, and they have assembled now as they wait this very solemn ceremony as the casket is taken off Special Mission 41, Air Force One, and taken to the hearse and then taken to the church, where the president will lie in repose from 6 p.m. today, or a few minutes from now, until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. After that, the president will be buried at his family plot on the Presidential Library grounds at Texas A&M University and College Station. That's tomorrow. He will be buried alongside his wife, Barbara Bush, wife of 73 years, who died in April, and Robin Bush, their daughter, who they lost to leukemia in 1953 at age 3.
And interestingly enough, Liz, after this, the funeral tomorrow, the locomotive 4141 was donated by Union Pacific Railroad to Mr. Bush back in 2005, and it will transport him to his final resting place. That's tomorrow.
That's right. Again, a very solemn ceremony here, and surely very emotional for the Bush family. The Evening News with Jeff Glor will have much more on this after this newscast. We'll be right back.
Now, the South Florida Honda Sports Report.
Well, Palm Beach County is well established as a prime golf destination, and none of the big PGA stars that live here are going anywhere soon. But as of last night, the PGA of America is. The organization that has close to 30,000 members across the world is moving its headquarters from Palm Beach Gardens to Frisco, Texas, a deal that includes several major championships and an estimated $2.5 billion economic impact over the next 2 decades for Frisco. About 120 jobs will relocate, while roughly 100 will remain in Palm Beach County, and so will the golf identity established here, according to the folks at the PGA of America.
Some would say Palm Beach County is the unofficial golf capital of the world, with the great players, the legacy of Mr. Nicklaus, the Honda Classic. This, again, isn't about winning or losing, just a new opportunity.
Great players are our country and around the world have come here to live and call this home. It will always be the people, and it will always be those that love the game of golf. It's never going to change.
Meanwhile, it's a frustrating day for Charlie Hamilton. The West Palm Beach native is now a historian, a golf historian, an author, and he says this move should not have happened. His take is up at our website, CBS12.com.
And here's a look at your 7-day forecast one more time. 74 degrees tomorrow, up to 78 Friday, and the 80s returning over the weekend, but so will the rain. 50% chance you want the umbrella by Sunday.
Here comes the rain again. All right.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'll be back for CBS 12 News at 11.
And remember, the news is always on at CBS12.com. The CBS Evening News with Jeff Glor is next as we go ahead and take a live look right now. President George H.W. Bush's body in the casket and family and friends surrounding him.
We'll see you at 11.